Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Gonzii and today I'm going to be reacting to a new Geographic video called The Most Violent Animal on Earth, but you will not expect who it is. So yeah man, let's get it!
So in 2016, the University of Granada published a study that tried to answer the question of what mammal out of the thousands
Granada is
on
in
Earth
Spain, by the
is
way.
most homicidal. And the results,
Oosh.
well, if it wasn't on paper, you wouldn't believe it. Researchers created a list of over 1,000 candidates, and by painstakingly studying over 4 million animal deaths total and recording how many of those life retirements were caused by the same species, they were able to mathematically determine what mammals are the most likely to murder their own kind.
No!
And nobody could have predicted some of the answers. The Dama gazelle placed 16th on the homicide scale with an 11.85% chance of getting past tense by another Dama. Slightly above them at 14th were chinchillas with a probability of getting put down by a fellow chilla at a solid 12%. Brown bears just barely made the top 30 at less than 10%. But the bears of the sea, specifically the New Zealand sea lion, lapped them with an execution rate above 15. Oof. Now, you're probably wondering where humans ranked on this list. We gotta be up there. I mean, there's just no way. Humans didn't even crack the top 40, with less than 2% of human soul evictions caused by another human. In fact, according to the numbers, lemurs have far more bloodlust than humans and chimpanzees. But the most known for homicide mammal in this study, the most murderous creature on Earth, was the meerkat. No, not a meerkat.
Oh yeah, meerkats are
with about 20% of those in God's recently deleted having been airdropped by another meerkat.
It's
like
insane.
With any psychopath, to see where these tendencies come from, you gotta look at their family. Meerkats are a type of mongoose, an animal that essentially married crackhead determination with gang mentality.
True.
We're gonna get back to them in a second, but just know, running a fade with mongoose is like getting attacked by a team of temperamental tube socks with teeth. But if you take a wider look, meerkats belong to a superfamily that I'm not even gonna try to pronounce. I just know that they share it with fusas, which I talked about last video, and hyenas. Yeah, the hyenas' closest relatives are mongooses like the meerkat, and that made no sense to me until I heard what meerkats sound like.
Oh, it's almost the same.
The mongoose is probably most famous for their eternal beef with snakes.
True.
Except the word beef is doing a lot of heavy lifting, since snake versus mongoose is more lopsided than an edge up from Stevie Wonder. A common misconception is that they're immune to snake venom. They're resistant, but there's a point where enough venom will murk even a mongoose. Yeah, the mongoose has a mutation in their nicotinic acetylcholine receptor that makes it harder for neurotoxic snake venom to bind to it. That's how the same cobra that can flatline a person in 15 minutes can fully get put on a t-shirt by a warpath weasel. And meerkats will run fades with highly venomous snakes and turn them into a belt if they need to. These sand assault squirrels will even weaponize the power
sand assault squirrels, bro.
Like through a process called mobbing. Speaking of which, don't worry, I didn't forget about this. But to explain why meerkats have such a high KD ratio against their own kind, you gotta understand how functionally dysfunctional their families are. The meerkat empire is built on a foundation of violence, extortion, spawn killing, cannibalism, but most importantly, a power-hungry mother, and it goes like this. Meerkats live in groups called mobs, and each mob is a conglomerate of several family units merged together as one. And sitting at the throne of each mob are the dominant couple, the alpha male, but more importantly, the alpha female. Because like with their bigger hyena cousins, meerkats are female dominated, and it's the biggest, meanest mama meerkat that calls the shots. Everyone has a job in meerkat society, and the alpha female is responsible for birthing new members to the mob, which is why she eats by far more than anyone else, so that she can make enough milk to feed her pups. The top male is primarily in charge of guarding his defenseless kids, and when he's not doing that, he's usually out hunting or spreading his scent to reinforce his territory. Then you have the scout team, the meerkats whose jobs are to forage for food wherever they can find it. And watching their backs are the sentinels, the security guards of the clan who keep an eye out for ops like eagles or jackals and will alert the foragers of danger with an alarm call. And back with the newborns are the babysitters who keep the new recruits from wandering and going MIA, and the second they hear that alarm, they either rush the kids back underground or prepare to defend them with their life. And of course, to teach the meerkats how to meerkat, you have meerkat mentors. That job description includes passing down all the tricks of their trade.
It's like actually more complex than I thought it was.
Protein. They'll even hand a mutilated scorpion to the pups for them to hone their hunting prowess on. By the way, did you know that when you remove a scorpion's stinger, you also remove its anus? So if they don't get discharged from reality right there, they get put in a coffin by severe constipation months later. And last are the pups themselves, and their only job is to not die.
Ugly,
You're gonna see why just surviving meerkat society
can be not cute, bro. Not cute.
One of the most crucial rules of meerkat monarchy is that only the alpha female is allowed to have pups, and she can end up spawning 80% of all the infants in the mob. If one of her subordinates literally around and she's the one to find out, the penalties can include include the illicit offspring getting discontinued permanently, and even the offending female getting banished from the family by the queen.
Wow.
With how meerkat mobs work, a lot of times this involves a mother evicting her own daughter. And with meerkats being used social, getting kicked out can be a death sentence with extra steps. So often the outcast will come crawling back, and sometimes she's allowed back in, but on one condition. The alpha female can and will force the insubordinate outlaw to breastfeed her children, basically using the threat of eviction to turn what's often her own daughter into a wet nurse.
Wow.
Promiscuity is why most baby meerkats born will celebrate their first birthday in the afterlife. Pups not birthed by the alpha are at such a risk that some insubordinate females will even catch a case eliminating the queen's kids if it means giving her own a better chance. But it's not that easy. The meerkat monarch is so attached to the throne that she's even willing to exile one of her daughters.
Bro, this is mind-blowing.
Being too big of a threat. Just like hyenas, female meerkats produce double the testosterone as males, and they use this to bully the rest of the mob into submission. A banished female does have the options of either trying to bag a bachelor to start a mob of her own, or just straight up trying to join a new one. But there's always the chance she gets violently rejected for her efforts. To put it in perspective, imagine a grandmother that not only puts her daughters out on the street for getting pregnant, not only turns her own grandchildren into a case number, but only lets that daughter live under her roof if she agrees to nurse her mother's kids, which, yes, would mean breastfeeding their own younger siblings. Yep. It's twisted, but that's just how
really twisted.
And speaking of siblings, even your own roommate in the womb weight room can do you dirty. Meerkat pups will often square up and throw paws with each other, and even though these fights aren't to the death like hyena cubs, there's a direct relationship between the availability of food and just how violent these fades can get. Early on, meerkat pups rely 100% on helpers bringing them food, and a pup will start something with their own sibling if they see that one getting too close to a helper. The human equivalent would be your mom coming home with McDonald's and you and your brother throwing fisticuffs with the winner getting to eat and the loser getting to watch. Actually, we might not be that different. And if that weren't enough, there's always the possibility of a rogue male kidnapping an unsupervised pup to try to add it to his own mob.
Not the yoink, bro.
But it usually ends with one
ugly creatures,
now,
bro.
everything I just mentioned involves politics.
Come on, bro.
Intermob conflicts happen too, and it's usually when a foraging party of sand-seasoned assassins trespasses into rival territory. And like with every other aspect of this murder mongoose's life, this too can lead to violence. The meerkat mafia will try to intimidate the opposition with a war dance. Now usually, that's all this is, just a bunch of aggressive posturing and a healthy helping of hold me back. But 10% of the time, words can't do what war can, and it gets physical enough to remove multiple meerkats from the census. According to studies done in the Kalahari, almost half of mob-on-mob brutality is initiated by the alpha male. So long story short, males are usually the ones starting stuff with other mobs, while females prefer to keep their beef inside the family. All that adds up to 1 in every 5 meerkat obituaries being authored by another meerkat. Meanwhile, the much more infamous hyena has a homicidal rate of about 8%. It's to the point where you almost wonder why meerkats don't just choose to live on their own, since the biggest threat to their way of life is often another meerkat. The answer is eusociality.
Bro, that's a tough way to go, you know.
Spawning babies, and everybody else works together to bring up the children while also splitting the labor of the colony. Bees and ants are probably the most famous eusocial insects, and so far we can only name 2 eusocial mammals, those being the raisin of rodents, the naked mole rat, and is like
Rufus, bro.
Meerkats live in the desolate,
ugly creatures,
Kalahari, where grocery shopping is a treasure hunt, and death can get delivered to you faster than an Amazon package. The mob system, although not perfect, keeps members fed and protected, especially the pups who almost always have someone watching over them. Their alarm system is so advanced that the sentinels have different calls for different situations with different levels of urgency. For example, the warning call for an approaching fox or jackal is not the same for that of a bird of prey. And like I said, the power of friendship is their best weapon against threats like snakes. In fact, the only snakes they really have to worry about are the ones related to them. So, when it comes to meerkat family, you can't live with them, but you don't got a chance in hell without them. I've called a lot of animals homicidal, but no mammal is more murderous and more of a legitimate danger to themselves than a baby-faced foot-tall Terminator and the comic.
Come on, bro. I hear. Marking their own
and I'll see you all
kind, bro.
in the next one.
Hey, Pumbaa and Timon, bro. Let's go. But yeah, guys, another amazing casual geographic video in the books, man. Bro is the GOAT, been saying this, and I already knew that meerkats were menaces against each other. They kill a lot. They are the most homicidal mammal in their own kind. So yeah, man, it's insane. If a meerkat breeds wrong, bro, chances are he's gonna get scooped, bro. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching the video, man. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, man. I hope you guys had a phenomenal weekend, and as always here on the channel, man, before you go, keep God first as always. Drink water and go tell somebody who love them. If you're here, you know what to do, man. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. My name is Gonzii, and see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye.
I've been through this, been through that, reminiscing on my past. I found bliss in the way that I carry on my back. Let my soul sing my song. It goes, ooh, na 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 na.